I've been thinking a lot about what makes an artist, or what makes a great artist. I know these are two completely different things, but I feel like I have a great journey when it comes to the first one, at least. I think I was born a creative. I think it was always inside of me, and there was really nothing else in there for me. Every other subject felt like blabber. I never really attracted good energy with any of the other ones. Art was always the thing that I did. I had doodles in my notebook. I took every single art class I possibly could that fit into my schedule and that I was allowed to take, and I took the minimal amount of math and sciences. I then moved on to making art on the side, and it wasn't until a friend asked me if he could have one of my artworks turned into a poster that I even considered selling my artwork. I didn't think I was good enough, that's the truth. Maybe it wasn't just that I wasn't good enough, but people constantly told me that collage was not a real medium. Even now, you would be shocked at the amount of comments I get with people saying that collage is not a real art form because I haven't created something, which is just a very uneducated opinion. And there's always going to be trolls. It's funny too because I know how to paint very well, I draw, I do all sorts of art, but collage is the one thing that I'm truly passionate about and always come back to at the end of the day. In an age where we can see like millions of other artists' work all the time in its beautiful and pristineness, it's almost hard to know if you're meant to be an artist. With no real training and no real encouragement towards this area of study, I felt alone, and this was my safe space, was with my art. I was told over and over and over and over again how much I could not do it full time. Although I generally walked to the beat of my own drum, this was just something that I could not get wrapped around my head, mostly because I didn't know how to get paid for my art yet. I sold a couple originals to family and friends, but you can't live off $100. As one does as an artist, I got distracted with other projects. I turned to business. I started a tech company. I tried to run it, and I ran it into the ground. While running this company, I did not touch a paintbrush, a pencil, anything, a pair of scissors, for the entire time I ran that company. In the moment, I felt like I was finding myself, but when I looked back, I had lost myself in the journey. I was surrounded by people that wanted something very different out of life than what I wanted. But this time wasn't wasted at all. I learned the legal side of running a business. I learned that I needed to do something creative for my profession, no matter what it was. I learned to get more scrappy and learn new ways of making money from art. Now, at this time, after having done my own hours, having a full-time job in a cubicle was not going to be for me. So I combined what I knew. I became a freelance creative. I worked odd ends of jobs. I worked for anyone that would hire me. And I mean literally anyone. When first starting out, I just wanted any money I could possibly get my hands on. Now, I don't think design work should get confused with creative work. They're very different, and yes, design is creative, but it's not artistic, and there's a lot of pushback on creative design. There is very little wiggle room for having your own ideas. But being a designer gives me the skills I needed to also learn how to do my artwork digitally, such as scanning them in, retouching the images, making them into print-ready files. I learned how to make videos exciting and fast, and made things I don't think I ever could have done without these skills. It gave me the time to learn these foundational skills, learn what other companies were doing for their marketing, etc. All the while, I was doing art on the side whenever I could get the free time. That was the next big hurdle, was the time to do art. Now, because I was really never encouraged to do my art, I definitely was underdeveloped in the way that other people were way ahead of me at this age. I was good, but I wasn't a great artist. They say it takes 10,000 hours to be a master at anything. And with me switching mediums all the time and doing these classes where we would have a new project in a new area every time, I had nothing that I was extremely masterful in. I had tried practically everything, and I really stuck to different things at different times. The times I was in office, I was a really big drawer. Something easy to do in a notebook that you can just scribble in while you're at work and you have nothing to do. I drew little monsters and characters, and some of them turned into stickers. I always intended my business to be a drawing company or a digital art company. At the time, I was doing digital portraits for friends, and at the time I was really enjoying it. I also did a lot of acrylic abstracts. I liked large brush strokes that were expressive and I could really capture a mood within a painting. But the one that I always came back to was collage. All my mixed media pieces, they were mixed with a collage element to them. In school, I had audio courses and I loved collaging pieces together of audio, video, whatever it was. Everything had this overlapping feeling and nothing was ever just one image on screen. I'm a maximalist in my home and also on the pages. But what was this about again? Time. 2020, the pandemic hits. 2 weeks before this, I meet a woman who's able to give me all the collage material I could ever imagine right before the shutdown. It was like a gift from the universe. It was so obvious that I was supposed to use this time to do my work and just really lean into it and be confident in what I did. And I became so confident in it. Every piece I made was getting better and better, and I still used a lot of paper at this time. The pieces were busy, but they were fun. I was also getting a really interesting history lesson from all these interesting magazines. Throughout university, I'd always had a collage club. I just invited some friends over, had a bottle of wine, and made some art pieces together. But I never thought that it could actually be something until that very moment. Even then, maybe I didn't think it was something, but I knew that I was finding something that I was very passionate about. With the social life gone, it was easy to create something every day. I was finally working towards that 10,000 hours to become an expert. Within those 2 years alone, I definitely did my 10,000 hours. Probably not, but it felt like it. Every day after work, I'd grab my scissors, sit on the couch, watch a show, and cut away. Some days I just focused on sorting papers, but it always got very messy. After a couple months, I got fired from my job. This was the first time since graduating university that I was going to have a vacation, a proper one where I didn't have to worry about anything else. In that time, I went crazy. I literally created so much stuff that I didn't even know what to do with it anymore. My housemate at the time was also an artist, and she suggested that we put on a show. It was a running joke that we had when she had first moved in. Now it was a serious conversation. I had a body of work that was massive, and now I needed an income to support myself. It was a brutal 3 weeks of planning, and we ended up finding a place that got canceled on the last minute and ran a show. Hundreds of people came. It was insane, and most of the pieces were sold. At the beginning of the week of the show, I had barely had any confidence in my art, and by the end of the week, I was talking like I was an artist. Most importantly, I was calling myself an artist. I felt like an artist. So that leads me back to the question is, what makes a person an artist? And I guess what makes someone anything? Although I felt like an artist for the first time, this is definitely not what other people saw. Other people, my friends, my supporters, had seen me as an artist for years. It was this show and outside validation that made me feel like a real one, which is just kind of a sad reality, you know? Why do we have to make an Instagram account and a website and have our things shown to other people to feel like we are real and we are validated by other people, when really the only person you need to validate with is yourself? I also fought on what makes someone a great artist, and at the time I just thought it was someone who could create constantly and put out as much content as possible. And as we all know very well, that is just not true. Some of the greatest artists don't create at all for years and then come out with something brilliant. I do agree that there has to be some consistency, but I think that everyone is an artist in some way. It's just if they have the confidence in their work to be an artist and to try about it. I bet there are hundreds of people, potentially people even watching this video, that are way better at collaging than me. But the only difference is that I worked at it and I told people that I'm a collage artist and I put the time into it. What I'm trying to say is that anyone could do it. If they can build the skills, have some time for it. And then on to the second part of that question is what makes an artist great? And this is just my opinion, you know? But to me, what makes an artist great is that they're able to provoke your thoughts. They're able to change your mind. They're able to open your mind to new things. They're able to make you feel an emotion. They're simply a manifester, thought provoker. It doesn't matter if every single work they make is great. It's about them practicing as much as they can and dedicating as much time to it as they can. It's about them showing up for themselves in their art practice. At this time, I would love to know if any of this is resonating with you and if these are some things that maybe you struggle with yourself. I'd love to know in the comments. I just know that I'm not alone in thinking that way. To backtrack, looking back and thinking now of all the things that I thought that I needed to be validated, I realized that I was always an artist. It's just simply who I am. I can't choose to do it or not. I need to do it. Like an athlete needs to run, some days I wake up and I just have an itch to create. I'm not really sure where the message got screwed up to the entire world that to be an artist, you need to be posting consistently on social media, that you need to be selling your artwork and being successful at it, or that people need to know who you are and what your practice is. The truth of that is that content creators create content. Business people sell things, and famous people are known. An artist is none of those things. An artist, simply put, is someone who needs to create.